Hey guys, Joshua Nipper here, owner of Nipper Fence Company, and today we're going to be putting up a cap and trim fence, 6 foot tall, on Postmaster post. So we got the trailer loaded up, I'm ready to go, so let's get going. Hi, I'm Joshua Nipper. After 26 years of Army service, I found a new mission, creating strong, beautiful wood fences that transform homes. Follow our channel as I share expert tips, inspiration, and the passion that drives everything we do. Alright, so to start any fence, the first thing you got to figure out is where your end and corner post will be so you can get your line post set in the right location. So what we're doing here on this fence line is setting the two end posts so that we can put a string line on those two posts so we can get the line post straight. So that's what we're doing here. You'll see that long tape measure laying on the ground. So this house is a corner lot, and the city has a easement or a build line that's 30 feet from the road. So this homeowner ended up losing quite a bit of yard due to that easement. So it's just something that can take into consideration if you have a corner lot. You might go pull your survey and see if you got a easement or where your build line is, because it could cut quite a bit off your yard. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking just a regular 8-foot 2x4, and then I'm marking every 8 feet to get the proper spacing for our fence. I found that to be the quickest way. I've got other jigs for spacing posts, but that's the quickest way. Lay a 2x4 out and spray paint a couple inches from the end, and you'll get it every time. So I get the post set with that thumper that you've seen. I get it set level, and then I get the pounder and then pound them down. So we shifted to the backyard here. We're just finishing pounding the rest of these posts. I think it took probably around 3 hours to get all these posts pounded. We had, I think, 25 posts on this job to get pounded, and that includes laying everything out. So it didn't take too long. This ground was pretty good to pound post into. It wasn't too hard. In fact, the topsoil was really soft, and there on that back corner there is just a mud pit. Not very good drainage. But we marked these posts at 73 inches above ground. For a cap and trim fence, you need a little more post out of the ground so you can put your top rail high enough so that the 6-foot picket comes to the top of the top rail. And now we're just putting on our rails. We use a 1.5 inch number 10 stainless steel screw to attach the 2x4s to the post there. And on the back of I don't know if you've seen the other videos that I posted, but on the back of the Postmaster post, there are holes pre-drilled, so it's really easy to get those rails attached where you want them. And these 2x4s, I use a number 1 board. I found number 1s are a lot better to work with, and you can find number 1s at Menards for essentially the same amount of money you're going to pay for number twos at Home Depot or Lowe's. So every once in a while you can find number ones at Lowe's, but typically they're number two boards. I like number ones that the grain's tighter, they're less twisting and warping than the number ones. Um, and we just basically just keep on putting these rails on, wash, rinse, and repeat all the way around until we get to the end. The main thing is keeping everything level and straight on a cap and trim. You need, and this yard is a really flat yard. Good, it's a good yard for a cap and trim because you don't have many elevation uh, issues. And then here, I had to cut some of the video because it was just too long for my editor, but we just finished on putting up the rails around the rest of the fence, and then now we're putting the pickets on. And then you can see on this cap and trim fence that we put the top of the picket to the top of the rail, and then you'll see at the end of the video where we come in and cap it with a 2x6, and we put a trim board on the outside to cover up the dog-eared picket side. Typically, I would have a bump board on a traditional privacy fence that I'm putting up to keep the picket straight. But since this is a cap and trim, you just run it to the top of the board. Makes it go really quick. All right, so here we're starting our gate build. So this is a 5-foot opening, or just shy of 5 feet opening gate. So basically I cut 2x4s to fit snug in between the two posts there. And basically run them the same height as in the same area as the other rails are that you can see coming from the panel there. And that's essentially where our hinges will go. I use 2 hinges for most of my gates. 2 hinges is really all you need for a fence gate. The third one, if you put a third one or the middle one in, it tends to bind up a lot, and it's just not needed. The big companies that sell these hinges and these gate kits, they put 2 hinges in the package for a reason. So 2 hinges is really all you need, and you'll see later on in the video when we get to the hinges. But basically I'm just putting these rails in, and I like to get them snug, and then I put a screw to hold them in place until I get my brace on and my pickets on. And when it comes to bracing gates, there are essentially two types of braces that you can use on a gate. You can use a diagonal brace in compression or a diagonal brace in tension. So on a wood fence, you really want to use the diagonal brace in compression mode. So that would be the top of the brace away from the hinge side. So the far part of the gate will put compression down on back to the hinge side, if that makes sense. And you'll see, so I put a board in between each of the rails, and then I come over top of it and laminate another board over top of it to give it more strength. The other brace, the diagonal brace in tension is typically used for like your vinyl gates and your aluminum gates. The biggest problem with the tension bracing method in wood fence is the connection points. You got to have a strong connection point for a tension brace to work effectively for your gate. So that's why in wood, when you're building a wood gate, you like to use a diagonal brace in compression. So, and another important note about the brace, it cannot exceed 45 degrees. If you exceed 45 degrees in your for that brace, you're doing more damage than good. You have to make sure that you're not beyond the 45-degree mark. Then you can easily just take a framing square, a little speed square, and set it up there and check if you're past the 45-degree or not. Typically on a 4-foot or a 5-foot gate, if you stay a few inches back from each end, you're going to be fine. And here I'm just putting the pickets on. And then what I'm doing, I put 2 pickets up there, and then I snap a line in between them, and I cut them to make them fit perfectly. And here I'm putting the trim boards on first, simply because I got to put the hinges on, and I can't put the hinges on until that trim board are up. So for the trim board, I basically just used a picket, and I just cut the dog ear off of it and then cut it to size. Now we're going with the hinges here. I like to pre-drill a couple of holes first so that the lag bolts don't get off center, or take the wrong route before it gets seated, and then it'll throw the hinge off a little bit. And I really like these strap hinges. I think if you're building a wood gate, and this wood gate here is pretty heavy once you get the cap on it. It's a pretty heavy gate, and 2 hinges is all you need. It works just fine. An important part about the hinges is you need to make sure that they're the reveal on like if you're putting the hinge bolt right down the center or offset a little bit, whatever you do to the top one, you got to do to the bottom one, or else it's going to kind of bind up on you a little bit. So there's towards the end of the video here, I wanted to show putting the cap on the fence here. It's just basically a 2x6, like 16-foot 2x6s. We're just throwing them up there, getting them um, somewhat centered. I think we were inch and 3/4 on one side to make the reveal look the best. So, and then basically just, and you'll see that back of the yard kind of looks like it slopes down a little bit. That corner post was about 2 inches lower in elevation than it was on the other end of the fence. So it had a little bit of a roll there, but it wasn't too bad. It actually turned out really nice. Had a real nice roll to it. So that is essentially how you build a cap and trim fence on Postmaster Post. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to throw up some pictures here of the final product so you can see. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate it.